Hey there, my name's Tim.
And I'm Wendy, and we've been married for almost 24 years now.
Yeah, and we've got 4 kiddos. Our 2 boys are off at college, and our 2 girls are still in middle school, and that is the Kuhls.
We met at a small Christian college in San Diego, California.
Yeah, and then from there, when we graduated, we took a couple ministry roles in the Southern California area, and then spent 15 years at a church in a desert of Southern California. And then for the last 4 years, been the executive pastor here in the Coachella Valley. A funny story of how our 2 personalities both blend and clash is my idea on how I would propose to her. We had a friend at a large performing arts high school in Los Angeles, and I thought it would be fun if I arranged for us to drive up from San Diego to LA, go to our friend's performance, but then arrange for the intermission raffle prizes for me to have set up that we had a winning raffle ticket, that I'd sneak out to the restroom during intermission and sneak backstage and come out on stage and propose to her as she went up to win her prize, that her prize was me. And they called Wendy up and she smelled it as she was walking on stage. Doggone it, that dude is proposing to me on stage in front of 1,800 people. I thought it was genius. She was less enthused about the setting.
I'm an introvert, he's an extrovert. He loves being in front of people. I would rather be one-on-one.
Yeah, it was not the most perfect blending of our 2 personalities. So I come out on stage proud, and it all got pulled off exactly the way it was supposed to. And I dropped to a knee and I say, "Wendy, I love you. Will you marry me?" And she was frozen. And I'm like, oh boy. So I literally said on mic, "This is the part where you say yes." And I, put the mic back to her and she said yes, and the crowd cheered.
And I was excited once I said yes, and we got off stage. Then I was excited.
Yep. I think as a couple, what we like to do for fun is concerts. We both have a love for music, live music. I think our taste has evolved over the years, less about the style of music, but more, is it a venue that has seats now? We are not as pumped anymore, well, for us in particular now, to stand all night. What else do we love as a couple, babe?
We love to eat out, do things in nature.
Yeah, I would say nature is a big thing for you.
Nature's a big thing for me.
As a family, it's any sort of activity oriented to let the kids move and crawl has been great for us as a family.
Yeah, it's hard with 4 kids to find something that they all want to do at the same time, because from 21 to 12, the interests vary. Hiking is one of those things where they might not feel, like it that day, but they do love it when we do it. So we do that as a family, being outdoors.
Being a parent has been a crucible for my discipleship, because I think every husband and dad feels the pressure of the time and energy that a job takes, leeching away from the time and energy that you want to invest in your wife and in your kids. So I think every guy faces that balancing act. For me, there's the added layer of a church is affection as well. I need to be investing my time, my energy, and my affection for the people at my church. And so you're drawing on those 3 all the time. So for me, I think it has been a crucible for my discipleship that, 1, I had better maintain a real walk with the Lord so that those tanks are being filled so that I can invest in all of those places. I would also say, by the way, that being a parent is the most constant mirror to your own character that you'll ever have, right? And so while I'm wildly proud of my boys' decision to love the Lord, love the church, and to love ministry, I'm aware it's been at the expense of my shortcomings. Like, I did a good job as dad, but I look back and think, man, there are so many moments where I was too pushy, or was too short, or was not patient, or was not driven by grace, but driven by expectations. It's like, let me have a do-over. Let me have one more round at this. So I look forward to being a grandparent and stepping into those lessons.
Being a parent has taught me that there's going to be confrontation and there's going to be difficulty, but coming back to kind of a space of grace for each other and growth and learning is so important. And weaving in our, faith in God, and He loves us unconditionally. That has been a huge obstacle for me, I think, over the years, and a growth opportunity as a parent, teaching me that conflict is inevitable. My journey with Jesus started from a young age, growing up in the church. I don't remember a time I wasn't in church or learning about God. By the time I got to college, it really became my own faith, and I was able to kind of pave my own path.
Yeah,
and
choose it yourself.
Choose Jesus for myself, and opportunities for growth and taking myself out of my comfort zone. So my junior year of college, I chose to go on a missions trip with a team called Royal Servants. We went to Missouri and did a boot camp for 2 weeks, and then the rest of the summer I spent in South Africa, Johannesburg, Durban, ministering to people and gaining insight into a world outside of myself and how to encourage others in their faith, in their walk with God. Seeing kids in an orphanage with no hope of a permanent family. Seeing disabled children in a home with not a lot of affection, connection. Those things kind of break your heart in a way that kind of cracks you wide open for obedience to Christ and things outside of what you see as comforts. And growing up, my house was kind of one of those revolving door homes, and had lots of friends that would kind of find it as a refuge. And then we had foster kids as well, in and out of our home, kind of as a ministry. And that's kind of one of the things that drew me to ministry, was that my parents not only lived their faith out in public, but at home as well.
Yeah, and the home I grew up in could not be more different. My dad was an addict of a lot of things, a lot of anger, just a chaotic household. So as a result, I really wanted to achieve outside the home, either to escape the pressure or to earn my dad's affection, probably both, to be honest. So for sure, growing up as a teenager, the desire to have attention and affection from your dad, or to escape, the negativity, either way, meant that I was successful academically, which does not propel you to the head of the Kuhls chart in middle school. At one point, I don't know if this is the same language in Texas, but in California, we would test in math, and those who scored high would literally compete in timed competitions. I'm not making this up. I was a mathlete in junior high. And you'd be shocked at how uncool that being a mathlete makes you in middle school. And I remember the resentment and the frustration in me, and then getting into high school, I started playing sports, and how that was just this magic key that made you cool, that made you popular. But I remember still feeling really empty, and at a certain point, it didn't matter how many things I had achieved, I still felt like none of it was fulfilling. And so for me, I walked into the back of a youth group in the East County of San Diego back in 1992, and the youth pastor just shared the gospel, and it all made sense. I gave my life to Jesus in the middle of high school, went from 0 to 100, and I just dove in with both feet and fell in love with the church, the Lord, the scriptures, and started to bring friends with me to different events. And a couple of those friends gave their life to Christ, and so that's where the call to ministry fell on my life. And then that pushed me off to a small Christian college where we met. Hill Country Bible, on behalf of my wife and myself, thank you so much for the opportunity to step into the lead role at Hill Country Bible. As we followed God for the last 9 months, searching for a church home and a future place for us in ministry, we have fallen in love with the mission of Hill Country. We've fallen in love with the people of Hill Country. We fell in love with the elders and the staff there. And so as you consider affirming us to be the potential next lead pastor of your church, just know that from our hearts, we've got nothing but gratitude, joy, and excitement for what God would have for the years to come. We look forward to being with you soon, and thank you so much. God bless.